This was one of the biggest hiring fairs in the country. They used to come from all over. There was farmers used to come up from as far as Finton up here to hire somebody. And then they'd hire girls for the houses as well. It'd be even prices quoted would be in the daily papers. You know, for a small village like this, it was really what made the money here was the fair days and the days round it. You were hired on the 22nd of May for the summer work. It was the most money, and you were hired on the 19th of November for the winter work. You just turned up and you walked down in the corner there and the farmers came down and they negotiated whatever, might be £5 for the 6 months or even less. They had to leave you back where you got you and give you the money you weren't paid till you had the 6 months done.
Well, I'll tell you one now, and it's about a fella that hired, and he was a fella that was reared kind of comfortable and had a good mother, and it was an awful shock to him to have to go out to work. But the house he was in wasn't a bad house. There was a big country woman and a man, and the children was a bit grown up. So he wasn't in a bad place. But he talked to her Annie this evening and said that he loved country butter. So she hadn't churned for a long time, but this evening she came in and she had said she had a treat. She had a big plate of corn buns made, and she made country butter. But he could see before ever he went to eat it that there was an odd hair sticking out of it. But he didn't mind that too much. But he put a good dollop of it in a bone, Nanny, but lucky enough she wasn't looking at it. And he couldn't eat it. There was a wild taste of it. But lucky enough, he said there was a big old sheepdog under the table, and he threw it down to him. And he says, I declare to me God, he says he had a lick his own arse to lick the bad taste out of his mouth.
I remember my mother used to tell a story about, I'll tell you this one, this was the lady who told her firsthand that she went to the Highland Fair Black Lion to get a maid, to get a girl to look after the children. And Judy made her dealings with her, and she said, well, you may come up to the house to see where we are. And she came up to the house. Before she went in, she says, now, I want to see one thing before I go in, and that is the heap of spuds. So as I know we'll get fed. That was something, wasn't it? They were so badly paid. Maybe they weren't badly paid, but that was so important. They must have been badly fed in places. And that was why she was secure in that.
You had 3 or 4 houses down there doing teas in it, and you had all types of ones in second-hand clothes, selling second-hand clothes out on the street. And you had a dentist, or at least they used to call him a dentist, you see, and he used to set up in the Bush Bar here in the wee room. And he had a sign up, 2 shillings with paying, you see, and 5 shillings without paying. Do you know, you had to pay 5 bob. And he was just using crude enough instruments, but people were glad. There was no glad to get their tooth out. And the difference, you see, between the 2 shillings and the 5 shillings was he bought 3 shillings worth of whiskey and sort of acted as sort of an anaesthetic tea. You know, when you drank this whiskey, there was a lot of whiskey that time for 3 shillings. But you had no pain.
The Highland Fairs anyhow was a big part of the beginning of the last century, and as well as that, Black Lion was a town for the armies, people from Enniskillen coming out, get them to list for the First World War. You know, they'd purposely give them drink, and they'd give a shilling to put in their pocket, and they sign up, and then they got letter to turn up, and they were away to France or different places, and they were, for them mainly was cannon fodder. That's what they were fighting in the trenches, and there was a lot of them old veterans of the 1914-18 war about here, round, you know, you'd meet them, and they had stories to tell, but of course they weren't popular when they came back, you know, in the lead up to 1960, 1918, like anybody that came back that was fighting for the British.